Dave Salter from AngelsWin.com, speaking today with the newest Hall of Fame member, Bert Blyleven. Bert, how you doing today?
Very good, David. How are you?
Doing great, thanks. Tell us about your Hall of Fame experience.
Well, as I told you before, David, it's sometimes it's hard to put in words. You know, I know in the induction last Sunday. I'm standing in the back because Roberto and Pat Gillick and myself are the last ones to be introduced to the crowd. And I'm just standing there watching on the monitor everybody that's being introduced, and it's like, wow, there's Sandy Koufax, there's Juan Marichal, there's Frank Robinson, there's Brooks Robinson, there's Bobby Doerr, Carlton Fisk, Reggie Jackson, Yogi Berra, and it's like, wow, I'm part of that fraternity, and it's a pretty good feeling.
A lot of fans really thought that it was almost an injustice that you weren't in the Hall of Fame with all the incredible records you have. Do you think the voters now are starting to realize there's more to it than just certain stats, that you have to look at more of the totality of the career?
David, I always wondered what they thought. I don't know if the writers actually, the ones that vote, do their homework. I honestly don't know if they know how hard it is to play the game of baseball, especially for the amount of time, say, I did, or Jim Cott or Tommy John, two guys that I feel should also be in the Hall of Fame. A guy like Tony Oliva, as great as a hitter was, he's not in the Hall of Fame. So a lot of guys still outside looking in that I feel that hopefully will get there. With the 14 years it took me, the frustration was there because my dad passed away of Parkinson's in 2004. I learned the game of baseball from him. The importance of him being there was very important to me in my fourth or fifth year on the ballot. That never happened. So, do I hold a grudge against the writers? Yeah, a little bit. I wish that they would do their homework a little bit more. Did it take Zach Greinke and Felix Hernandez to win their Cy Youngs the last couple of years to finally show these or tell these writers that, hey, there's more to it than just wins. There's innings pitched, there's shutouts, there's strikeouts, there's complete games. It's what you mean to that ball club that you're on, whether you play in New York or you play in Cleveland. I never played in a big market. That probably was against me. But I still don't understand the voting. I know it's their right to vote, but some of these writers are just so pig-headed that they just, when they think that somebody doesn't belong. I know I was with Peter Gammons. He said he didn't vote for me my first 8 years. I wanted to hit him in the forehead. He doesn't know how hard it is to play out there and to win a ball game and to be consistent over somebody's career.
You have arguably the best curveball. When I talk to scouts, they still compare kids today to your curveball. Can you share some of the secrets about how you threw that?
Well, actually, a lot of people don't believe me, but I have actually learned my curveball from listening to Vin Scully describe Sandy Koufax's curveball. Growing up here in Southern California, my dad was a huge Dodger fan. He's the one that got me interested in baseball. He and the friends, when I moved to Garden Grove, California, I was in third grade. Coming from Holland, we didn't know that much about baseball. But as my dad listened to the radio and Vin Scully and describing Koufax's curveball, and back then the mounds were higher. They had the 15, 20-inch mounds that looked like pyramids out there, but Koufax's curveball was called a drop. And I'm very fortunate and lucky that Sandy Koufax was there for the induction speech, because I thanked him for the way that he threw his curveball, because I visualized his drop. And then when I got about 13 or 14 years old, I started throwing the curveball and developed it by listening to Vin Scully describe Koufax's pitch.
Now, when you look at the game today, how would you say it's changed from when you played?
Well, I think the athletes are bigger and stronger. I think the hitters are stronger. Of course, they went through the steroid era. I think now pitching is starting to come back and dominate a little bit part of the game because the hitters aren't juiced, as some of the pitchers aren't juiced. I don't like the way the game is as far as the pitch count. I never will. I don't believe in the pitch count. I feel that the hitters usually let us know when we were done over a board that says you have 95 pitches. It becomes more of a mental thing, I think, for these pitchers, starters nowadays, than the physical part. because they might come out after 6 innings, they look up at the scoreboard and they say, oh, I've got 85 pitches, I only have one more inning, rather than, hey, I'm pitching a shutout, I want to get this shutout. You know, they don't have that drive to finish what they start. They're complacent going to work from 8 to 3. I wanted to go to work from 8 to 5. I think that's a difference in the era that I play.
Now, when you started, you were part of a 4-man rotation, and when you finished, it was a 5-man rotation. Did you have a preference, and how did that change the game?
Well, I think when you're young, I mean, I was 19 years old, I wanted to get out there as much as possible. I had a kind of a, you know, they always, in Little League, they say the pitcher's got a rubber arm. That was me, you know, but my mechanics were improving as I developed, and I liked every 4th day because if you had a bad outing, you had a chance to go right back out there. I didn't like to think about what happened in the past. I wanted to look forward to the future. I've always considered myself a very positive person. There's too much negative out there. So, you know, if you have a bad outing, you go out and hopefully pitch a shutout the next time. That's the way you have to look at it. And when I was younger, I liked the 4-day rotation. As I got older, into my late 30s, I liked that extra day just to give my arm a little bit of a breather.
What about the DH rule? Did you like hitting, or did you like having? Did you hate having to worry about an extra slugger?
When they put the DH rule in 1973, I was not a very good hitter. We had a guy on our ball club, Minnesota Twins, Tony Oliva, who I mentioned earlier. I think should be given more consideration for the Hall of Fame. I looked at it that I don't have to hit. I got a chance to go 8-9 innings every time because it's not a 1-0 ball game in the 7th inning. I don't have to come out of the game because I'm still pitching well. And I would take my chances against anybody else's DH over what we had, and that was Tony Oliva. So I felt I had the advantage already going into the game because Tony Oliva was going to be our designated hitter.
What do you remember about your time with the Angels?
I had a great time here. My first year, 1989, comeback player of the year. I still don't know where I went, but the American League put me as comeback player of the year. I was 17-5, had a very successful year. The strike in 1990, I came back, pitched too much too soon, ended up hurting my shoulder. 90 was not a good year for me. 91, I missed the whole season because of 1990, hurting my shoulder, getting operated on. And then 1992, at 41 years old, I tried to come back, but my shoulder never got back to where I was happy with it, so that was my last year. But I'm very, very proud to have worn an Angel uniform.
What was it like tossing out the opening day pitch last night?
It was pretty cool because I was supposed to throw it to my son. First of all, the Angels gave me a very nice jacket, Angel jacket with the number 28 on it for the 50th anniversary that the Angels have been in Southern California. And then the 4 pitchers that weren't pitching, Santana, it was Chatwood and Weaver and Pinheiro and missing somebody. Heron. They came out and presented me with a really nice plaque, and it's something I'll cherish the rest of my life. And then when I turned to throw the first pitch, it wasn't my son, it was my grandson, Dylan, 6 years old, that caught the gold ball. So it was pretty exciting, and he framed it really nice, and I thought I threw a strike.
What can you tell us about the Twins?
Well, you know what? It all comes down to pitching and defense. Our pitching's been very inconsistent. We are in 4th place. They're 8 games out. Until the pitching and defense improves, that's where they're going to stay. They're having a very tough time getting back to 500. The American League Western Division is not that. Nobody's going to run away with it. Detroit's playing the best baseball right now. They probably have all season. You hope that the Twins can find a way to win series and get back into the race.
It's always a pleasure watching the Angels play the Twins in a series. They're too hard playing, good playing and right way of playing baseball type teams. They're always tough series. Is that your perspective up here?
Well, you've got 2 very good managers here, Mike Scioscia and Ron Gardenhire. Scioscia does a great job of playing fundamental baseball. He utilizes what he has in his lineup. The Angels have a lot of speed. They have some guys that, Torrey Hunter's maybe not having a year that he's capable of having, but all of a sudden here comes Mark Trumbo. local kid hitting 20 home runs now. So, yeah, they've got a very good ball club. They're right in the thick of things with the Texas Rangers. But it all goes down, I think, to the way that the managers control the players, and then also both managers, I believe, put a lot of confidence in their coaching staff. Some managers don't do that. They want to run the whole show, but both Ron Gardenhire and Mike Scioscia they put a lot of responsibility on their coaches, and I think that's a good thing.
Now that you're a member of the Hall of Fame, what will be your criteria for voting on someone in?
I don't vote for anybody, and it's the writers that vote. So I don't have
the Veterans Committee.
Well, I'm still a rookie. I have no idea how that works, how the Veterans Committee works. Like I said, this is all new to me. I'll try to represent the Hall of Fame to the best of my ability and not pass gas too often.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Are you welcome?